Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, as promised, we're back here again. We were live this morning doing our Bad Batch watch party at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and we had a fantastic time talking about that and doing our scores. And I've updated the Wall of Fame. You'll see going through the scroll below. We've updated the Wall of Fame for week 16, and we have our season finale leaderboard. If you guys are on our Discord, you'll see those names listed there as well. And we're having a really good time going through each of these episodes after they air. And so this morning, and we've been working on this, we're going to talk about the whole season. We'll talk a little bit about this episode, but then we're going to talk about the whole season with our friend Star Wars Meg. And Meg, thank you so much for making yourself available to talk to us today. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
It is so much fun, and I see a lot of your patrons are here. So thank you all for being here. You guys are great. And Meg and I were talking just before the live stream. Wonderful this community as a whole is. There are different kind of cliques within it, and there's the Fandom Menace crowd and others, and within those cliques, they're just really good to each other. But as a community as a whole, we've seen that folks are really, really good. And Meg is a rising star in this community. Everybody that we've talked to really loves, and I love the content you put out every day, almost every day. And it's always reliable for us to get information. And and Meg, if you're not familiar, some people came into my live chat, I think yesterday, and they're like, "Why is somebody pretending to be Meg?" I'm like, believe it or not, it's actually Meg. We have a lot of fun in the chat, and she's always putting those corny jokes in. You're extremely good at that. Your talents don't just lie in Star Wars knowledge. It's in the ability to craft a corny joke on the fly.
Absolutely. That's part of the job. One of the main aspects, actually, as someone in the chat says, Meg is the wild card of chat.
She is. You never know what you're going to say. She's dangerous. And sometimes misbehaves. And I've got to watch. I got to really be careful when I see her comments. And if I click on them, sometimes it embarrasses me.
But the thing that you forget, Santa, the thing you're forgetting is when I enter the chat, it instantly becomes 18 plus.
It does.
So I kind of bring the spice, literally.
Literally, yes. And YouTube lets me know about it every time. They're like, your content may not be appropriate. Well, I put it in the thing, not for kids. It says right in the definition, not for kids, but they still flag me almost every time. When Meg enters the chat, I know, oh no, I'm going to have to appeal. YouTube's going to be flagging this video.
Yeah, I guess I'm the barrier between monetization and redundancy.
It's so fun. But it never crosses the line. There's a lot of innuendo in there, but not necessarily, we have a good time. Everybody's friendly. There's never any adversarial kind of challenges towards one another. We can have disagreements. And talking about disagreements, episode 16, the season finale of season 1. Not such a fan of it, you are, huh?
No. I mean, there were moments that were good. I like the, character development. It was visually great. The music was great. But it was a season finale, and it didn't really feel like one. So,
Lucas and I loved it.
Step up their game.
Look, when's that Meg mug coming out, by the way?
Meg mug.
Yeah. So you said on your one of the birthday cakes you got, they put mug on it instead of Meg.
They did, yes.
Right?
It said mug birthday wishes. I thought, great.
So what we want is a mug that says Star Wars mug, but has your logo, right? Star Wars Meg, but it says it's a Star Wars mug, and we'll get the joke. we need
I think I'll have to look into that.
we need to have the merch. We need the Star Wars Meg merch that just says Star Wars mug right on it. And and people would think, well, sure, it's a mug, but they won't get the joke unless you followed the channel, right? So thank you,
Or
Ducky,
I
for this.
have an alternative suggestion. You put me in the box, and then they think they're getting a mug, but they actually get Star Wars Meg quite literally. But the only problem is I haven't figured out cloning, and the other problem is Nala Say has been, working 4 jobs, so I haven't been able to speak to her in quite a few days.
Yeah. Well, since the Empire kind of sequestered her, it becomes more difficult to have access, right?
Exactly.
Look, I loved this episode. I thought it was thrilling. Through the whole thing, it was intense. It was exciting. At one point, I was holding my breath, quite literally. I was holding, and Omega comes up, and I'm like, whew, I could breathe. My heart was racing. I thought the episode was terrific. And the interaction at the end between her and Crosshair touched my heart. I wasn't expecting it, and son of a gun if it got me, and I wasn't ready for it. But that's the thing. Everybody has their own sort of life experiences you bring into things. Everything has your own perspective and tastes, and it's not going to have the same resonation for everybody.
Yeah. Spoken like a true Santa.
Well, I've had to come to terms with this because Mrs. Claus is not a Star Wars fan. She can take it or leave it. And
that's her problem, being claustrophobic.
Oh, ouch. There you go. You get it in live. There's confirmation right there. The Meg in chat is the same Meg that we're talking to today. Oh, it's so fun. We absolutely love it. So the season as a whole, then, what do you think of season 1, just overall?
It was okay. Not great. I liked about 3 episodes in total.
Ooh.
I liked Aftermath, War Mantle, and Return to Camino, which was part 1 of the finale. I didn't really like the others. I mean, they were okay. They were dead colors. It was visually acceptable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if I want another season.
No, come on. I absolutely loved it. It exceeded my expectations. And I mentioned it this morning, like if you compare it to Resistance, maybe that's the wrong thing to compare it to.
Well, of course it exceeded your expectations. You spend all day in the North Pole. It's cold. There's nothing to look at except for reindeer doo-doo.
And it snows like all the time. You guys watch my live stream. It looks like this all the time, every day.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of color, and water, and it changes everything. No, I really think it's great. I enjoyed it a lot, and for me, I don't know where the disconnect is and why. If it's just opinion, not matter of taste, that there are a large portion, I would say, of the Star Wars fandom, the community, that were more aligned with you, I would say, who are like, it was okay, or it had its moments, but overall, I could take it or leave it. But for me, I'm like at a whole different level. I loved it, and I thought that it brought almost every single episode built some portion of Star Wars for me that enhanced my overall enjoyment of the franchise. So for me, I just love all of it, and I'm having a little bit of cognitive dissonance in what this separation is. What is it that would have made it, I think, maybe more enjoyable for you?
I guess I like good Star Wars content.
Oh, ouch. Ouch. My standard is just so low.
No, to be honest.
Oh.
I've always been a bit skeptical about animated Star Wars, but that's not like across the board because I really love Rebels.
Mhm.
In fact, I would say that's one of my favorite Star Wars properties. But with the Clone Wars, I can't watch seasons 1 and 2. It's just so boring. So this kind of felt like that to me.
Really? That's fascinating. And Ronnie, thank you so much for the super chat. Santa and Mug. Uh, no, for me, I would put it the opposite. For me, season 1 of Rebels was it turned like I quit watching. I got about halfway through the season. I was like,
Well,
this
there's your
show.
problem.
That's my what?
That you didn't bother watching the rest of it.
Well, I did
It's
finish
like
watching
saying,
it.
"Oh, I didn't watch I stopped watching The Empire Strikes Back at like the hot scene." It's like you have to get through that. That's like the veg that people have to get through because it's healthy. But then you get the steak, or if you're vegan, the
Right?
vegan steak.
No, I did finish watching it. It took a few years because I watched like first half of the
How
season
slow
1.
was your internet?
Oh, Meg, no, and I just quit watching it. I didn't care, and I was like, okay, this is too kiddie for me. I didn't like Ezra at all. I was like, Space Aladdin just isn't doing it for me, and this kid's annoying. I don't like it, and so I quit watching. And then I heard a lot of my friends, other people saying how terrific it was. And I said, okay, I'll give it another try. I started season 1 over again. I was like, no, I really don't like this. But I kept watching. And when you get to season 2, it gets better and then better and better. So it did end up captivating me. And overall, I really, really do like Rebels. But that first season was rough for me.
Santa, is there any Star Wars you don't like?
Well, there is, but you and I are not going to see eye to eye on this, my friend.
Oh, yeah, you don't like the prequels.
I don't like the
You're-
prequels.
You are the one human being on Earth. Well, even that's a bit arguable. I don't know where you're from. But you are the only person I know who puts the prequels under the sequels.
I do.
Are you
far
sure someone
below.
didn't give you the sequels in like a box set, but then replaced 7, 8, 9 with the discs of 1, 2, and 3?
I don't like them. I don't like them, and I can't help it. And I thought, well, the Clone Wars animated series would make it better. And so, and I really do like the Clone Wars animated series. There's a lot to like. And then I go back and I watch the prequels, and once you get past the Phantom Menace, they start making me mad again. I'm like, I should be over this. It's just a movie, and people love these things, and I should find out why they love them. And I'm like, I just don't. Even the Revenge of the Sith. I'm like, I mean,
But you're Santa. You were the chosen one who was said you would enjoy the prequels, not shun them. Bring balance to the trilogies, not leave them in darkness. You are my Santa. I love you.
see, this is Meg. This is what she does in our chat. That's absolutely great. That was awesome. And, I just don't. I don't like. And for me, Attack of the Clones is unbearable.
Oh, bad news.
There is so little of that movie that I can watch and enjoy. Very, very little. And Revenge of the Sith, the Padme and Anakin interactions are cringe. I can't. Every time I'm like, oh, they're so bad. Why do people like this? I just can't get past it. So yeah, there's some Star Wars I don't like. And in fact, I read a lot of the novels as well. Do you read much of the novels?
I do.
Oh, good. So have you read the stuff around Galaxy's Edge? There's I think 3 of those that are based around that, and one of them is a bit of a romance, a teen romance novel.
Galaxy's Edge. If it's a book under Disney, I haven't read it unless it's The Last Jedi.
See how you are. No.
I like my Star Wars the way I like my coffee. It has to be good.
It has to be good. I mean, It is good, but there's just that one movie or the one book that I just didn't like. And so even with the novels, there's some of the novels that I'm like, okay, not for me. And I think it has more to do with the genre than anything else, especially with that one. And some of the new books around the High Republic, those have been mostly good. But there was one, Race to Crash Point Tower. It was like, but other than that, RFK.
I did not like the High Republic. I mean, here's the thing: people say, "Oh, that's because you haven't read it." It's like I have. I got through like 3/4 of Light of the Jedi, and I'm like, what the whatever word is this?
I've enjoyed them, especially the Wave 2 books. But for the most part, I really enjoyed those. But so back to season 1 of the Bad Batch, just left you flat, more like the first couple seasons of Clone Wars. You say?
Yes, but at least those had, Jedi and people we knew. And I know that not all Star Wars has to have a Jedi in it, but I don't know. I also didn't like the way they treated members of the Bad Batch that we saw in the Clone Wars season 7. Like Echo was completely done wrong. Tech was solid. I liked Tech throughout the season. Wrecker had a very good early part of the season. Hunter, Omega, they're quite annoying. But I like Crosshair.
Yeah? No, come on. You like Crosshair? Are you trolling me again, or you genuinely like him?
Well, he's got all of the traits that a dark side user like myself would admire. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities, some considered to be unnatural.
It's true. This is true. It's a very true statement. And I can see what you mean about Echo. Like, he's largely absent. He's there, but he's not really contributing much for the most part. He's just there, right? So I can get that. I can get that criticism from that. I find Crosshair to be wholly unlikable, which is what he is intended to be. So executed,
holy, as in like holy, like Jesus.
No, like WH.
I was going to say that's a different level.
No, he's entirely unlikable. Which is what he's intended to be. So it's executed extremely well, right? If something's supposed to be bad, it is bad, then you did a good job at making it bad. That's Crosshair.
That's what Lucasfilm did.
Oof.
It's not so bad. Whatever else you said, it is bad.
No, come on. I really, really enjoy most of what they've done on Disney Plus, right? Resistance was not great. It had its moments, but for me, not great. Kaz was annoying, and I think he was supposed to be entertaining. And there's an example where something's not what it was intended to be. He's meant to be entertaining, but he's annoying. Not well executed. In contrast, Crosshair was meant to be somebody dislikable, and he is dislikable. So they executed that very well. But I'm actually looking forward to seeing more Omega. I love her character.
I don't dislike Omega, but around episode 7, no, that's a lie. Around episode 10, she kind of just became like, I know she's innocent and she has a golden heart and whatever, but she just gets in the way.
Well, that takes away from the Mary Sue concerns, right?
Oh, no, I don't think she's a Mary Sue. I think that's a silly complaint.
Yeah.
She's not a Mary Sue.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I know I've been a bit saltier than normal lately, but no, I don't think she's a Mary Sue.
I was giving you a hard time this morning, having fun, but do you indeed get hangry? Do people tell you that you get hangry?
Yes.
Yes? My wife does as well. I mentioned that on the
angry, and I know someone with a speech impediment, so they say I get hangry.
No, come on. But do you truly get
Yes, yeah,
grumpy when you're hungry?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mrs. Claus does as well, and everybody knows this. Our children know it, and they're like, "Mom, do you need something to eat? Like, can we go get you some peanuts, something? Like, will you be in a better mood if we let you have a snack?"
I hope she's not allergic to peanuts because I think you've got a different problem altogether.
She's not. There's Roddy again. What do you think will happen to Crosshair? And Nala Se will show up in the Mandalorian season 3. Do you think she'll show up? Ooh, that's a really good question there, Ronnie. Nala Se, do you think we'll see her in Mandalorian?
No.
Now, what
because
do you think?
It's too obvious.
Too obvious.
Yeah, that's what we want. So of course we're not going to get it.
Would she be too old?
I don't think, if I'm being completely honest, we might see Nala Se in an upcoming show, like a live action one. I guess The Mandalorian season 3 makes the most sense because we got in chapter 12, was it, The Siege? We saw those, cloning projects that the Imperial Remnant had been working on.
Yeah.
So I do think we could see Nala Se. I think it's more likely to link to Dr. Pershing. That woman had the same outfit at the end, the medical officer. So it's more likely to link to Dr. Pershing than it is Nala Se. I think they might just show us that Nala Se interacted with Pershing, because I know that they've got all this technology with the volume and everything, and for some reason, since the sequel trilogy, Disney has been like, no, we're not going to use as much CGI. I think Kaminoans would look really stupid in 2021 in live action. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you might be right. They may avoid bringing in Kaminoans, Gungans as well, right? Because the CGI effects just aren't quite the theme of the show, and it might seem out of place. There's another thought I had about that. We'll see if it comes back. But we got another super chat here from for Cachella Lopez. Wasn't it weird that both bounty hunters kind of quit the hunt? And he's got the laughing George emoji. StreamYard does not like emojis. I thought it was going to play a bigger part. Having tension was good. So I do think that we will see bounty hunters in next season or future seasons. And this is more of a long game series. So much like the Clone Wars and Rebels, seeing a character introduced in season 1 but not revisited until season 2 or 3, or 4 or 5. if we could get 5 seasons of Bad Batch, it would make Santa very happy. But I think that we will get more bounty hunters. Is it odd that they didn't reappear in season 1? Given the story arc that we had, I'm okay with it. What do you think?
Yeah, same as you. I don't think overusing them in a multiple season show, all in the first season, makes much sense. We'll see them again, but no, they use them just the right amount.
Yeah, and we thought maybe we'd see Rex and that crew, but it didn't get them either. And there is always this weird kind of balance between fan service, cameos, and building the story. And I saw some comments this past week where people were saying, enough of the cameos. Let's just move on with the Bad Batch. Let's move on with them. And this episode did that. We had no cameos to speak of. We had the bit Admiral Rampart or whatever beginning. I don't know if you call that a cameo, part of the stories, but I thought they did a good job this season. I was blown away by the Cad Bane cameo early in the season, and I loved what they did with Cad Bane and Fennec Shand. And I understand there's a little bit of grouchiness over their duel between each other, but overall, I'm very happy with how they used the cameos in this season. Not only our bounty hunters, but Rex and I guess Echo, would you count? I don't think you count Echo as a cameo, but LaQuane and Rex, I thought they did a good job with all of that.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really hold the same position as other people that we needed some, massive cameo at the end. It would have been like the cherry on top, but I don't think it was necessary. So my grievance with the series and the final episode is the story feels so boring. It's because at times the show feels like it caters to Star Wars fans, and other times it's like, is this show just for kids? The story didn't have much depth to it. It's like we have to escape. Woohoo! Nothing.
So somebody clip out the woohoo there. That would be great. But to me, it was serial. And I guess I came into the whole season thinking it was going to be the A-Team and that we were going to get just, individual episodes that are self-contained. And I've said this before, your villain of the week, monster of the week, crisis of the week, you resolve it within a half an hour, and then next week you get another one. And I expected that to be the series. I thought that's what we were going to get. And overall, through the arc of the season, you see your characters develop over each of these kind of things they run into. So I guess it was just that I was looking for something different. And really, I think that's sort of the heart of where this dissonance in the community comes from, where some people are absolutely in love with it and some people are like, well, it didn't do anything to the story. I'm like, what do you mean it didn't do anything to the story? The story was great because I was looking for a different story, I suppose.
Yeah, I found the plot was lacking in a lot of places.
Nala Se hired Finnick. Yes, I believe that's the case. Lama Su died just a couple of episodes ago. Was your services are no longer needed, which is code for we're going to kill you now. So no, you have the timing absolutely right there. Let's see. I need more Vader in my life. Even a 5-second cameo. You might get more Vader. So as we go forward into season 2, given your displeasure over season 1, what would your expectations, maybe revised expectations, what would your expectations be, or maybe what are your hopes for season 2?
I don't know. I'll be watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, won't I?
It doesn't have to be an or situation, Meg. It can be and. And
Okay,
it's better than or.
No. In all seriousness, I think season 2 will have a lot more interesting plot points because they've built the foundation with season 1 and now they're going to move on and I think develop the cloning story, because they need to tie up some loose ends. I think it's going to feed into the Mandalorian much later in the timeline, feed into maybe even, as much as people don't want to admit this, but the sequel trilogy with Snoke. I think he's created around this time. And I think we'll find out more about Palpatine's contingency plan from very early on. A lot of people think it started after Return of the Jedi, but it didn't. He was more or less obsessed with cloning, preserving life, immortality ever since he knew Darth Plagueis. So I'd be really interested to see that. And in terms of the Bad Batch story, like for Clone Force 99, I think they're going to run into some situations which will kind of tie in other elements of the Star Wars universe. We could meet Maz Kanata. We could, who knows, run into where Grogu's been hidden by Mace Windu.
Yeah, Kessel Run had that scoop early in the season that we were going to see we're going to see Grogu in the Bad Batch, and that it was going to be
Mace Windu. By the way, I didn't say Mace Windu.
No, who was? No, but they said we were going to see Grogu and that he was saved by a well-known Jedi. So we could see that kind of thing in future seasons. And let me ask this. So they're using Nala Se as part of their cloning operations. I speculated that maybe it would end up being a situation similar to Galen Erso, who kind of sabotaged the Death Star through his required service to the Empire, right?
Mhm.
So it was serve or die or have your family killed kind of situation. And Nala Se has been conscripted in a very similar way. Might it be that Nala Se is both helping and at the same time uh, uh, hurting their efforts?
Yes, I think that's a very good point. I wouldn't say that's a prediction I would make, but knowing the trajectory of irony within the Star Wars universe, that's definitely something we could see. Because, as you say, Galen Erso, the irony of it is his daughter died um, on a mission to try and prevent what he created for the Empire. So, yeah, I think Nala Se might be involved in a cloning project that might see destruction, even her own demise.
Oh, well, I was thinking, Snoke may be, she may be involved with the whole Snoke project that results in him, right? Because he's coming on the scene very soon. And maybe the reason he is less than he could potentially be is because she's sabotaging it from the inside in a way
Well, you
that
know who
nobody
I
else
think
would.
is really important to all of this, who I think we're going to see in season 2, is, I guess at this stage, Admiral Gideon, who becomes Moff Gideon. And
Oh,
not many people have remembered that, but I made a theory a while back saying that he's already working for Snoke by the time of The Mandalorian season 3. Because with Gideon, for example, arrested by the New Republic, I think we're going to see another big bad. And I don't agree with people who say that he's working with Thrawn. Thrawn's doing his own thing.
mm-hmm.
I really do think Snoke is already in the story, already part of it. And he has to be, timeline wise,
Right.
unless we've got that completely muddled up. But I do think that is something Dave Filoni would do. Show us a young Moff Gideon, how he gets up the ranks in the Empire, how he's involved in this cloning project. And that could tie in some really interesting plot threads. And also maybe even meeting Grogu sort of 20, 30 years before.
Yeah. Well, you
Moff Gideon.
mentioned that this morning, right? You mentioned
Yes.
that Grogu, we may see Nala Se involved with a captured Grogu, right? This is part of his
Yes.
dark times.
Yes, that when his memory goes dark, according to Ahsoka. I think he was clearly used by the Empire. He might have had his memory wiped or something. That's why his memory goes dark. But I guess that's a plot hole because he still remembers his Jedi training on Coruscant. Something happens to him, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's more of a PTSD situation. Because people who have gone through trauma like that, there are parts of their lives that they can remember, but other parts that are completely dark. It mirrors very well some PTSD issues we've seen in soldiers, but not only soldiers, but victims of domestic abuse.
Yeah.
And so it's very possible that Grogu has suffered some PTSD from what's going to happen or what is happening at this time.
There's a funny comment. Someone says maybe he just gets put in a dark pad. That's why his memory literally goes dark. It's like there was no lights. Turn the lights on.
He's put in a suspension chamber, one of those sensory deprivation, right?
Yes.
It's completely dark. You're kind of floating in suspended water. Let's see. Hawk, touching on what Meg said, I hope Snoke will be the one to help out Leia as Vader's daughter. Snoke? Why would Snoke
do that? Isn't Snoke like really against Leia and Luke? Like, didn't Snoke corrupt Ben Solo's mind?
Right. Well,
I don't see how this plays into anything.
Yeah, I don't
could be
either.
wrong.
I know. One thing that I'm interpreting maybe differently than a lot of people do as well out of the sequels is where Palpatine says, "I'm every voice that you've ever heard in your mind." To
Inside your head.
Yeah.
And I don't even like that film.
Like I don't.
I wasn't a fan.
I don't necessarily quote things word for word. I do that. Well, I don't want to go too far off, but I lead a weekly Bible study, and I paraphrase things there as well, and don't quote from Scripture very well either. But in any case, Snoke is one of the voices that Ben hears, and I think a lot of people think then that Snoke and the Snoke voice are the same, but they're not. Snoke was influencing Kylo in one way. Palpatine was affecting Ben as Snoke in another way, as two separate entities. Not that Palpatine was controlling Snoke and Snoke was then doing that. Like it's not a pipeline through like that, but it's rather two separate sources that were affecting Ben at the time. So I see them as separate entities. Sure, Palpatine had some influence over Snoke, but Snoke's an individual. And Palpatine was affecting Ben as Snoke's voice in his mind. So
I think I wish one of those directors did all 3 films, or someone had a clue, because we're retconning, like we're retroactively, trying to make sense of 3 very separate films.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as you know, I like The Last Jedi. I think it's probably the best of the sequels. And a part of me wishes J.J. Abrams hadn't kind of messed up or spent half of The Rise of Skywalker trying to retcon The Last Jedi, because then you have this issue of like, wait, so Palpatine was Snoke, or Snoke was a different entity? We know now that Snoke is apparently a completely separate entity, but it's like, how does that make any sense then for The Rise of Skywalker? Because then how has Palpatine been every voice? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sat here trying to justify a Disney film.
I don't want to chase the rabbit down the hole too far, but
that's what she said.
Oh, Meg. Very, very well played. Well played. So, no, I think that it's just helping people come along. There are some of us who really love the sequels, and for me, it makes one interconnected story that I follow very.
Doing the raspberry sound.
I heard it. I was pretending that I didn't. I heard your applause. I heard your applause too when just before, and I was like, "No, I'm not going to encourage her that way."
I'm so much more sarcastic in real life.
It's a beautiful thing. It's absolutely beautiful. People are seeing. People are seeing your videos don't give us truly insight into your whole personality and what you bring to the chat and to our discussion today is just, it's brilliant. It's so much fun. And when I set myself up like that, you got to take advantage of it. It's good. It's but for me, I enjoy the overall arc. I like the character development. I like the story, all of it. There are pieces of it that I wish were executed better, but for me, I prefer them. I prefer the sequels over the anthology movies as well. I prefer them over Rogue One and Solo. But
okay, we actually have that in common.
So you put them even further down, but you have the sequels up there, well above the prequels above the sequels.
Yes, but I don't follow your typical pattern of ranking, because I say all this stuff about the sequels, but The Last Jedi for me is above many of the films generally in the Star Wars universe.
I've seen folks that share your perspective, and that's what I have seen with you specifically, is that your opinions generally align with a big portion of the fandom, even though many don't like The Last Jedi, but some that do generally sort of align with you, or they say, yeah, I like The Last Jedi. The others were maybe not as good, but The Last Jedi is the one shining star out of that series. But be that the case, I tried to group them together as trilogies to get from the arguments with people over which movie is better than another movie. So for me, it's just originals, then sequels, then the anthologies, and then everything else, and then the prequels. Right? Like I'll take Resistance over the prequels. It's that bad for me. But hey, that's me.
Yeah, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and as I always say on my channel, everyone's loved and welcomed on my channel, whether you love the sequels, you love the prequels, you love the OT. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
everyone likes different films. I've heard people say, "Oh, the best Star Wars film is The Rise of Skywalker," and those people were like original trilogy fans. And I've heard like they watched Star Wars in 1977 in, as you guys say, the movie theater. We call it a cinema because we're right. And I've heard sequels, traditionally sequels fans who really like, The Force Awakens say, well, actually, Revenge of the Sith is the best film. So,
yeah, I saw the Star Wars in the theaters in '77, but and for me, I know. Well, there's that too. There's
Coca-Cola invented you years ago.
It actually goes back to the Santa Claus that we see now. Goes back to the American Civil War. I know. There was an artist at the time who kind of drew him up wearing the American colors, like red, white, and blue stripes and stars and all that. So, anyway, that's a different thing.
Well, actually, every Scandinavian country claims to own him.
Well, yeah. Most of our tradition here in the States comes from more the Norse kind of histories, but be that may what it may. We also steal some stuff from Great Britain, so that we couldn't be Americans if we didn't steal stuff from the Brits, and then change it. And as you say,
it's funny. None of my ancestors were British, so.
I went on a tour of Europe when I was in college, and I remember we were in Bath, England, and touring some of the Roman architecture that was there. And they said, "Look, if you guys hadn't split off from us, this could be part of your country." Like, well, okay, that's true. We messed it all up.
Yeah.
So look, I really loved the season 1. Season 2, I'm looking forward to. For me, I would love to see, and we had a couple people mention seeing Omega continue to build a relationship maybe with Hera, because they're more of that peer group. I think that would be great. And seeing Omega and Fennec, I've got my own little theory that maybe Omega and Fennec go off together during the original trilogy era, and they'll bring her into live action through Fennec into the Filoni era. What do you think?
Whichever way they do it, I think Hera will meet Omega again. And someone in the comments is very, very smart because they say that they agree with me.
I see that.
I like the choice of username. I think I resonate with it.
I see that. It's the real Meg versus the fake Meg.
Meg with 2 E's. If Luke gets an evil clone with 2 U's, I get an evil clone with 2 E's.
Right, like Omega. Right, it's Meg. That's the middle part. And it's the Star Wars Meg from London, or it's the Star Wars Meg from Melbourne. Which one?
Yeah.
Or I don't think it's Australian. It's what's Omega's accent from?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Yeah. So
well,
close.
Actually, isn't Michelle Ang? Is she Australian?
I'm not sure.
Let me have a look.
Okay.
I type as quick as dynamite. So, oh no, she is New Zealand. She would be very offended by what I said.
It's a lot of fun. Look, so we've talked about Bad Batch season 1, season 2. That's what we put on the thumbnail and the topic. The upcoming. So we've got next week. Next week, no new Star Wars content. But then we start to get new stuff again. We get the Mandalorian season 2 with the Luke Skywalker right? The finale of season 2. We get that. I think that's the next thing comes up. It comes up a Wednesday following. We'll get that episode of The Gallery, the making of the season 2 finale. And a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing that. And I was disappointed with season 2 of The Gallery being just that one episode and not going into each of the episodes, the production of them, and the discussion that we had from season 1. And so I'm really, really excited about seeing the second episode of season 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah.
I think when we got that first episode of The Gallery, a lot of us assumed, oh, well, next week we'll get part 2, because the way it ended, it was like they were planning a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of us thought, wait, why did they not put the rescue into that? Why didn't they show us Luke Skywalker, R2-D2? Because we've heard from Katie Sackhoff and Ming-Na Wen that there's a story behind it, that there was this green astromech droid, because they had painted R2-D2 green to, make it less obvious that it was R2. And they were told that the Jedi who was going to show up is Plo Koon from the prequels.
Right.
So I would really like to see that. And now that we know there's going to be a special, I don't think it's a coincidence they waited almost a whole year to put out part 2. I think they're either trying to get us hyped for the Book of Boba, because there might be some stuff in there. They might talk about the tension between Boba Fett and Luke. They've been doing it with the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover event, when Luke has his yellow lightsaber between 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that we might get some insights. Mark Hamill might speak about, maybe there's plans to carry on Luke in season 3, because we literally don't know if that storyline is done for now and they're going to carry that on in comics or books. But I'd love to see that in season 3, because just as all of us, the ending of season 2 opened up all of these possibilities of what we can expect. Do they carry on the Mandalore storyline with the Darksaber and Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, or do they carry on the Luke and Grogu story, or is it a bit of both? Is there going to be a time jump? I'd like to get some kind of insight, not too much, obviously, because they wouldn't just make it all about spoilers and leaks, but just a little nod towards the direction of what we can expect going forward. And hello, Goldman.
Yes, Goldman, thanks for stopping in.
I love that. His content's very good. If you like the sequels specifically, he's made some excellent documentaries and video essays. I really recommend him.
Yeah, I like him a lot as well, and he's in your age group, and it's encouraging to me to see folks of your generation, Goldman, you, and some like Papa Memes or whatever, all of those in your generation, who are really falling in love with Star Wars and defending and creating content around the things that you guys are really into. And the Goldman, to me, is on the right path. I really like what he's doing.
What I really like about him is the fact that he knows I'm a prequel fan. I know he's a sequel fan, but we do find common ground, because The Last Jedi, when I was at uni at the time, I was in my last year of university, and The Last Jedi is really what got me back into Star Wars. There was like a 2-year gap where, I watched a bit of this, bit of that, but the animated shows, but I really wasn't into it. And then I saw The Last Jedi and I came out feeling like, wow, this is the film that's going to get the fandom really excited. And boy, was I wrong. But what I'm saying is, going back to my point, I like the Goldman. I respect his opinions, even though we have different opinions on some things. And, when he talks about The Last Jedi or Rey, we do have a lot in common.
Yeah, well, and he somewhat agrees with you of the Bad Batch. He thought only 4 were good. I think you said 3 or 4.
I said 3.
Yeah, so for me, all of them were good. Of 16, 16 were good.
You're
some of them,
you have to be positive.
Unless we talk about the prequels.
Yeah, there could have been 25 minutes of Omega just dribbling and, like a whatever. And no content. And Santa would have been like, this was so deep, and there was these Easter eggs. And, oh, wow, you guys are really missing out. I think there's cognitive dissonance between the fandom. Yeah, this was the Skittles.
You have captured my content entirely. There's proof that Meg does watch Santa's content. She just nailed everything that I say right there. Right there. And I think, like Meg, I wish I loved it like you did. And I think, Meg, you said basically the same. You're really happy that some folks did like the finale. Good for them. Good for me. But not everybody did it resonate with as well. So we've got the gallery coming up. And then right after that, Visions. I think you and I share a little bit of that content is not made for me. But
Really, you don't love it?
I'm not super excited for it. I'm interested. Let's put it that way. I'm interested. It has piqued my interest, but I am not super excited for Visions.
You know, Santa, I was sat here thinking you're too far gone, and you come out and you say you're not excited for Visions, and there might just be an Anakin Skywalker redemption arc in your future.
I know we agree on that. You're not into anime, right?
I used to be, but then I grew up, you see, and
Oh,
I realized I didn't like it.
another shot fired. Yeah. Really good, really good. I'm hoping that it exceeds my expectations and that I find some gold nuggets in it, and that it's actually something that I can enjoy. But at this point, I'm like, it's got my interest. I'll check it out, but that's about it. And then, as for Casella Lopez puts out, we do then have the Halloween special coming right after that.
Yippee!
I am excited about that because I do love the Lego Star Wars.
It's about Poe Dameron and BB-8 going to Mustafar.
Sign me up.
And just like that, you've just
fallen off again.
Yeah, fallen off again. Jake Skywalker.
Oh, Meg. Oh my goodness. So Star Wars Real Talk, another good friend of mine, very excited for Visions. And that's what I think is, see, you can grow up but still enjoy your childhood, right?
I still watch Star Wars. In fact, that's what I do.
You can tap that inner child and really enjoy enjoy the Bad Batch and find your joy and happiness in it. You just got to tap into that inner child and embrace it. RJ, zero interest in the novelty Star Wars content, holiday specials. I love Lego Star Wars content, all of it. It's funny. It's irreverent. It kind of gets it. It's it's all the things that are fun about Lego married with Star Wars, and I really enjoy it. It's not like it's canon that you have to be all excited about, but it's the humor in it, and I just enjoy.
I really like Lego Star Wars. I'm really excited for the Skywalker Saga game.
Yeah,
which is coming out at some point, But when it comes to these holiday specials, I did quite like the Christmas one. I'm not going to lie to you. I liked that. It was lighthearted. It was fun. I'm going to watch the Halloween one because it's going to be on. It's whatever. And I think, before watching that Lego special, if you pardon the pun, I might have to build myself up.
Oh, you actually asked for permission on that one, but not at the other ones.
Well, I don't want to be an absolute brick.
Oh,
that's with a B, Google. You can't flag this stream.
That's right. Don't flag my stream. She said a Lego brick. Very important enunciation point for the Google bots out there who are going to flag this stream.
They executed Order 66 when I was typing comments the other day. And half of the stuff I said wasn't even that provocative.
No.
Okay, one or two comments I said weren't too provocative.
And one of my mods says that she's always having to approve your posts, and she gets them before I do. So,
if you give me her name, I will get an inquisitor on her. It's Abby, isn't it?
It is.
She's always had it out for me, that Abby. Nah, bless her.
Abby is awesome. I love her.
Yeah,
We've
I'm
got
really stacking it up here according to RF Gaming channel.
oh
Chanel
yes.
channel. Is Chanel with one N? Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, contrary to Santa admitted earlier, not everything is awesome, but that song is awesome. Everything is awesome, and once you start singing it, you know it'll stick with you. Everything is cool when you're part of the group, right? It's, I love that song. Yeah, Goldman, I can only handle so many puns. Well, if you stick around, Meg will give you all your full day supply of puns. She's quite good at that. So then we end the year with the Book of Boba Fett, and you've been kind of talking. Maybe you're less excited for it now than you were. Is that
No. I was just being a bit facetious. I am
yeah,
very excited for the Book of Boba Fett.
yeah.
I was
I
just being
thought
silly.
that. I thought that you know some people may not have picked up on. I thought that was the case. I thought the Book of Boba Fett. Look, and tie it back to what you were talking about before about continuing Luke Skywalker's story. There have been rumors of Luke, Grogu, and Din Djarin being a part of that set,
And Cobb Vanth.
and Cobb Vanth. So I think it's very possible we'll see more continuation of that storyline. But I don't know that people are going to get the Luke and Grogu content that they're maybe dreaming of. Like this poster, right? This poster that came out. And I got to give shout out to our friends over at Echo Base Network, who one of their members sent me the poster. I've got it here in real person. I don't know that we're going to get a lot of this, right? And I think there's some confusion over this poster. This was not commissioned by Lucasfilm. It was licensed by Lucasfilm.
Because of your green screen, it looks like something out of Harry Potter. It's kind of invisible.
I saw that. I'm like, it's doing the replacement, and so it keeps like disappearing in parts of it.
Not that we talk about Harry Potter, because you were saying about a certain person who
Author
is cancelled.
She's in lots of trouble these days. Anyway, I don't buy into that whole thing. I think it's a much overblown situation with her, but that's me.
I don't like her. She's
fair
a bigot.
enough. Okay, look, that's fine. We can have different perspectives on that. I don't know that I think she is, or I haven't honestly gotten that deep into it to know all the ins and outs. But I know that she's gotten herself in a bit of hot water, and that's all I know of it. And from what I know, it seems like an overblown situation, but maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe she wrote this episode of The Bad Batch.
But I think we are going to get some Luke and Grogu. I don't think we're going to necessarily get a full series based on Luke and Grogu. Luke training Grogu. I've mentioned this before. I don't think Grogu is going to be with Luke that long. I think Luke's going to help him deal with his PTSD, kind of therapy. Get him through those issues he has, restore him back to where he was before he was taken, so that he can heal and move forward. And I think that it's very likely Grogu can speak, that he's not a toddler, that he actually has a fully developed language, but he's chosen not to use it quite intentionally. So we get them in the Book of Boba Fett. Perhaps more will be revealed.
I think I have to agree with Goldman. I also have mixed feelings about Luke consistently showing up. I would much rather that. I mean, we're talking about the Book of Boba Fett here. I'm fine with him having a cameo. I'm fine with him, being a target for Boba if the show's going to be like a hit list or getting revenge.
Yeah.
But I do have a problem if they're going to keep bringing Luke into it, because it's like, is this The Mandalorian or, Return of the Jedi Part 2?
Right.
And I love Luke. He's not my favorite character, but I do hope The Mandalorian keeps going with Din Djarin's storyline. There's clearly a lot more to him that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Even to do with his past, when he was young and he got rescued by Death Watch. There's
Mhm.
much more to it. Who were his parents? They wore those robes of those Jedi monks. I
Yeah.
spoke to the actor who played the father. So I definitely think there's a lot more to explore with Din Djarin, and I hope it just doesn't become this thing of, because the fans really loved Chapter 16, we've got to make it all a big Luke Skywalker show. It's like, well, no, there still needs to be a storyline. And I feel exactly the same way about Grogu. I absolutely love Grogu, but why not bring him into the Ahsoka series, which actually makes a lot more sense, and let the Mandalorian carry on the story that needs to be told?
Mm. May not surprise you, but I'm not on board. I would prefer to see Grogu continue with Din Djarin and go that direction. Just go off that direction, away from Jedi, away from Force development, and just be part of that family, if you will. So that's sort of where I expect it and think that it's likely to go. And as far as Luke is concerned, I always thought it would be great to get an animated series following the Return of the Jedi, maybe up to where we see his appearance in Mandalorian season 2 finale, an animated series where Mark Hamill could voice Luke, and you get voice actors for Harrison and for Carrie and the crew and carry out that story between Return of the Jedi and Mandalorian in animated form. So I'm all in for more Luke content, but for me, I would prefer to see that.
I mean, I fundamentally disagree on the animated stuff. Like, what's the point? I mean, yes, there are probably a lot of things that happen between episode 6 and The Mandalorian, but are there really? Like, we can kind of figure out from the content we already have that he was trying to start a new Jedi Academy and Grogu's going to be one of these students. I would much rather see what happens to Luke between now and The Force Awakens. So I'm all up for a Luke Skywalker show. I just want The Mandalorian to carry on the trajectory. And if it's in the cards for Grogu to rejoin his dad, Mando, I'm all for that. I love that storyline. I've spoken about it. But for me, going forward, I don't want it to be... I mean, The Mandalorian season 2 was loaded with cameos, but they work really well. They
Mm-hmm.
fit into the timeline that we're in. But I just really hope they can stay focused on a good storyline that doesn't rely on those cameos.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of people who do like the cameos would say, well, then what about this character? What about this character? You get into this
Right.
endless loop of the more cameos you bring in, the more characters you have to introduce because they're all linked in some way. It's
Right.
like we saw Bo-Katan, now we see Ahsoka, now we're going to have to see Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka series, which is fine. But at what point does it become a greatest hits series?
Well, and more than that, we can use Fennec Shand as an example. It raises questions. A lot of times when you bring in these cameos, people love Fennec Shand, let's put her in this and that. It raises questions. Well, then where was she during these other things? And you end up with big gaping holes that can be filled. Now, that can be a positive and a negative. For one, it can give you open storylines to write all kinds of great content, but it also presents a challenge to explain to fans why Fennec Shand wasn't anywhere around when, say, Vader called the bounty hunters in to go get Luke. We know she was around. We saw that in the Bounty Hunters comic, right?
I suppose, but with Fennec Shand, she's an assassin by the time of The Mandalorian, so
Yeah.
I don't think she needs to be part of the guild at that point.
Yeah.
I think when we go down this rabbit hole, it ends up being, well, where was Ahsoka in the original trilogy?
Right.
Where was Grogu in the sequel trilogy?
Right.
Where was this character here? So they have to introduce these new characters. They have to bring them in some way. And sometimes it's fine not explaining it. The galaxy, or at least the impression we need to be given as fans, is that the galaxy is huge. And
Yeah.
sometimes it does feel very small. And that's
Right.
my point about The Mandalorian. I would be really happy to see cameos in the Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka and eventually the Rangers of the New Republic. But with The Mandalorian, I think the beauty of it in season 1 was the sense of adventure. And you can have
Hmm.
those, those famous aliens we all love. You can have more hammerheads and more. You can even have some, uh, Rhodians and
Right.
Gungans or whatever you want.
Yeah.
But when it becomes cameo of the week, it's like, how small is this galaxy? Why not show us characters who are connected to characters we love?
Right.
A family member of characters we love. That was what's great about Grogu. I mean, he could be Yaddle's kid, he could be Yoda's kid, he could be both of their children. They were together, and it's like, it's familiarity but done in the right way with this brand new character who has so much mystery surrounding him, both in his future and in his past. And I think that was the beauty of when season 1 came about. I love season 2, don't get me wrong, but you can put in those elements which connect to the broader Star Wars universe without it being cameo after cameo after cameo, because then
Right.
the fans are expecting it. It was
Yeah.
like that with season 2. It's like Bo-Katan says, go to the forest planet of Corvus, and there you will
Right.
find Ahsoka Tano. And then we expect to go to Corvus. We didn't right away, but give it 2 episodes. So.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I think they did a really good job in Mando, but and you're absolutely spot on with everything concerning all these cameos. I wholeheartedly agree with you. But it raises. I left this comment up from Green Bear because you mentioned about animated. Not you fundamentally disagreeing. What about the animated? What about a live action show featuring Luke Skywalker, but perhaps using Sebastian Stan? And I think this comes mostly because if you're going to do something between 6 and 7, as Goldman said, you're going to do something between 6 and 7 with Luke, you need a younger actor. Mark Hamill isn't, unless you're going to use the de-aging technology all the time and body doubles, stunt doubles to do action, it's just going to be rough. But if you get somebody like Sebastian Stan to do a live action, you can fill in that hole. Or you just like leave it alone.
No, I would love to see Sebastian Stan as Luke. There is so much to explore between Jedi and The Force Awakens. Like, so much. We need to know, at which point did Luke lose hope? Did he lose a loved one? Could we bring in Mara Jade? Did Grogu do something? That's another possibility not many people consider. Did Grogu go down a path that helped Luke to lose that hope? And I know there's a lot to do with Ben Solo further down the timeline, but I've always refused to believe that losing Ben Solo was the only reason Luke kind of gave up hope, even if they're related, even if he's his uncle. So I would love to see those years explored, because there's enough there in the timeline to give us an entire show about Luke Skywalker. I just hope it doesn't get introduced into The Mandalorian, because you run the risk of either not doing enough Luke Skywalker if The Mandalorian is the place to continue the story, or you end up doing too much of it if it just becomes about him. Luke Skywalker deserves to be the center of attention in whatever project he's in. And I think that's a grievance people had with the sequel trilogy. Someone said that he was in The Force Awakens for, 30 seconds? He was in The Last Jedi for 25 minutes, and in The Rise of Skywalker for like 2 minutes or something like that. Yeah, he deserves his own show. So I would love to see Sebastian Stan reprise the role. He looks so similar to him, and Mark Hamill has given his seal of approval multiple times. So
Yeah.
I have no opposition to that whatsoever.
Well, I think you and I talked about this before. I certainly talked about with the concern over the future of animated series that are more mature, and your complaint with the Bad Batch being, trying to figure out who is it targeted with. I think it's towards the preteen, early teen audience. But where do you get the content that is really has a broader sense of appeal? And animated as a whole, many adults look at it as, well, that's for kids, and they don't even try it. And the Bad Batch, to me, has been tremendous and has had great content for adults who enjoy Star Wars. And even you and Goldman have found some episodes that you found truly good, but live action just brings a different atmosphere. And if we were get to Luke Skywalker, your points are very salient. They resonate really, really well, because if you get a live action, first of all, you get people drawn to it that wouldn't be drawn to animated. Secondly, you get maybe content, the story itself, the content itself isn't as concerned with the preteen audience. Not to say that they don't have content that preteens would enjoy. I think The Mandalorian's woven that really, really well. And so you can do that without it seem like it's playing to them as much, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with what you're saying. Definitely. And there is this balance, I think, with animated series, is at what point is it for everyone? And the Clone Wars, especially seasons 5 and 7, in my opinion, were some of the best, aspects of that whole era, the whole prequel era. There are some incredible episodes in season 5, and all of season 7 I loved. Even the Martez sisters and the rescue of Echo was insane. So I'm not saying, I flat out dislike animated Star Wars. I just felt like the Bad Batch really felt short. And I kept telling myself as the episodes went on, well, Dave Filoni has this plan, and he probably still does. We're only one season in, especially if, your theory turns out to be true, that we're going to have multiple seasons. But I didn't like the way it was paced. It felt a bit patchy. I don't like the word filler, so I'm going to use like a word that's probably more appropriate, like pointless. No, that's a bit too harsh. But just these episodes that people say is character development, I don't think so, because I think some of the most intense episodes that really have an amazing structure to them, they build the character development. Maybe you can make that argument for the Cutler Quain episode or even this episode today. But for me, it was all about Aftermath, War Mantle, and part 1 of the finale. Those really were the reason I stayed invested as I went along, because there were times where I was thinking, I like the show, I don't love it. It's okay, it's not great. And I still get that sense now, but I'm probably going to watch season 2 and cover it and love it, I hope. But now that we've set this foundation, they can move forward and they can build on it. And I think Filoni's a great producer.
Goldman,
excellent.
Yeah, Goldman brings up a point that I just want to touch on. I've discussed it before. I don't think Filoni is involved in the episode-to-episode writing development of the Bad Batch. He's certainly involved in the as an executive producer. He's certainly involved in the story group, but I don't think that he's writing or directing any episodes at all.
No, you're absolutely right, Goldman. The reason I say Filoni, and the reason I think, okay, forget some aspects of this fandom, but the reason I use Filoni is because the Clone Wars was George Lucas and Filoni's creative baby, and this is an extension of that. I obviously know Jennifer Corbett and many other extremely talented people at Lucasfilm have equal, if not more, praise to be given for this series. But I use Dave Filoni as an all-encompassing term because a lot of it connects back to both stories he's made in the past and stories he is still going to make. And fundamentally, he is he got that promotion like a year ago that people only just recently caught on to. He is in charge of basically every project that goes through Lucasfilm. He has to be the creative director, I think it's called, executive creative director. He has to look at it and say yes or no. So I use Filoni in a very loose way, not all the praise goes to him. That's the only reason I use that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I just wanted to bring up as well, I don't think he is writing or directing any episodes. He's stretched way too thin to be doing that. With his role, he can't be doing that. He's certainly involved in the story group and maybe the writing room and setting out the overall plot for it and direction for it, but I just don't see him writing or directing any episodes.
Sorry, Santa, can I just correct you there? He did actually write a couple of them. He is actually given the credit of written by Dave Filoni on. Let me see.
Yeah, you have to look at that. I was unaware.
I could give you via Patreon or email later the exact episodes, but I have seen written by Dave Filoni a couple of times now.
Yeah, I did not think that he was writing or directing any of them, but I could be wrong. That's absolutely the case. I just thought he was way too busy with Mando 3 and the Book of Boba Fett to be doing that. So,
Well, the Bad Batch was written a long time before.
and Ahsoka, by the way, he's writing that. So,
The Bad Batch was completed a lot longer before the Book of Boba Fett.
and they're currently working on season 2 of the Bad Batch, and we had the confirmation of that just a week or two ago, and certainly he's doing those other projects concurrently. So that's my point. As I just think he's in his promoted role, isn't in the same position he was during the Clone Wars. To your comment a moment ago.
I agree.
Yeah. So we talked about 2021 briefly. 2022, we're going to carry into the Book of Boba Fett, and then I think did I see November? I can't remember the date. I want to say 11th, but that's Veterans Day. Maybe I'm confusing it. There's an event where they're going to be announcing a bunch of stuff.
Yes, I'm going to be actually making a video about that after this stream and putting that one out probably tomorrow. Basically, they say showcasing, so we could get a second trailer for the Book of Boba because the first one will come out in October. So we could get like how Mando had two trailers and then 3 or 4 teaser trailers. So we could get something for the Book of Boba, and we could also get something for either Andor or Kenobi, which has done a significant amount of filming.
Yeah. Well, they're done, right? Kenobi, I think, is done.
Yeah, Kenobi's done, according to Indira Varma, or at least her parts of the series. But Andor I haven't heard any updates on if Andor's done filming, but I know that Ewan McGregor did film some scenes for Andor. So
we'll have to verify this, but Brandon's saying episode 1 was the only one Dave helped write.
Okay, so one.
We need verification. Yeah, and Goldman again agreeing with Meg. Really enjoyed Rebels. I don't know if you think it's Filoni's best work, but for me, Clone Wars is better. But that's it. All right. Anything else, Meg, that is on your radar that has you super excited?
Obi-Wan Kenobi is the project I'm most looking forward to. I'm excited for Visions and the Book of Boba Fett. Even if I'm not an anime fan, of course I'm going to watch it. Next year is going to be a huge year for Star Wars. I'll be watching everything, and I suppose it's kind of sad the Bad Batch has come to an end, in spite of how much I've just taken a doo-doo on it. I do think it was a pleasurable no, that's not. I thought it was a very, very fun experience.
Oh, Meg. I don't have the same sort of wit that you do, or I may have been able to do something with that, but I wasn't able to think of anything on the fly. No, I'm excited for 2022 as well. It's going to be a huge year for Star Wars fans. And yesterday on the Disney earnings call, they talked about the direct-to-consumer is really their main focus. And Star Wars, fortunately or whatever, has fallen right into a sweet spot on Disney Plus. And the delay of getting any movies is not hurting Star Wars at all. With the complaints around the sequel trilogy, I think it's a good time for them to focus on the direct-to-consumer, the Disney Plus content, let the fandom heal, let the fandom grow, attract new fans in, as Mike Porter put in. Look, Grogu has been a huge boon for Disney and Disney Plus, and hopefully they'll tap onto a few other things that within Star Wars franchise that bring more fans in, and we can have a diversity of opinion.
We're going to see Grogu everywhere. Grogu is like the next, the the next big thing for Star Wars because he's a cash cow. You go to Galaxy's Edge, they slapped him on some socks, they slapped him on mugs, they slapped him on t-shirts, they slapped him on sweatshirts, jumpers. If there's an item that you would own in like an office that you can't find a Grogu on, I'd be very surprised. I'm going to what Green Bear says, always a thrill to hear Doo-Doo out loud. It's because I'm in the presence of Santa himself. I can't say the word I was naturally inclined to spout of my speech hole. Orifice.
Oh, Meg. I don't, a lot of times I don't even know what to say. You make me speechless, and I'm like,
you say it best when you say nothing at all.
See, there you have it. This is the fun we have, and appreciate all of the fun that you bring to our chats. You've been absolutely a godsend to me, and I am so I love you so much. I'm so thankful that you have given your time to me and allowed us to enjoy your wit and your humor in our live streams. I just can't say enough good about you and your work.
And I love your channel. I love your community here. You're amazing. I attend pretty much every live stream. I think I've only missed one in the last week or so.
You've been amazing, and I'm so thankful that we've met, and I hope that you guys can see that you can be passionate and dear friends and not agree on different things, and even say, well, I like good Star Wars. I like good stuff, and I can't help that you don't like good stuff. That's fine.
I kind of poke the bear a lot with Santa. I kind of, I try to roast him as much as possible, but
you do because it embarrasses me.
It's only good feelings, or as kids say these days, good vibes. Hashtag. Well, the hashtag comes first. Hashtag good vibes.
She likes to embarrass me, and I get all sweaty. I'm like, like embarrassed. I feel my, heat radiating off my face. I'm like, oh, Meg got me again. So it's so much fun, and you guys. We're going to start a Rebels watch parties next week. So on Discord, we'll open up viewing rooms to have live watch parties and work our way through that series so that we can get caught up. Because it feels like the Kenobi series and the Ahsoka series, a lot of other content we're getting in Star Wars is going to tie directly into Rebels. We see that with the Bad Batch. Bad Batch, in many ways, is a Rebels prequel with young Hera and knowing where she's headed. And so I think it is a really good time for us to dive into Rebels during this time where we do have Visions coming up, the holiday special coming up, but we've got a bit of a gap before our next series in the Book of Boba Fett. So we thank you for being here, and Meg, thank you. Thank you
so much. Can I answer one question? Someone said,
please.
Vanessa says, do you enjoy Marvel as well? I don't know if you remember the answer I gave to that 2 days ago when someone asked the same question.
No, you only watch Star Wars, right?
Yes, and I was going to name that my channel, but Star Wars only already exists.
He already took it. I like him as well. I like him a lot as well. I'm a member of his Discord as well. And Meg, we've got to get you into Discord. I know you're into the Patreon thing, but Discord is where it's happening. I just tell you, that's where all the cool kids are, and you're definitely cool. So you need to be in Discord.
Well, maybe I'll have to get myself one of these Discords that all the cool kids are talking about, and I'll get back to you.
There you go.
If it's an app, if it's a phone, if it's a sandwich, but I'll find out.
You do that, and you definitely need your Discord so we can all come and hang out. Discord is way better than Patreon. Now, Patreon is good for revenue, but Discord is great for community building, and you need to get yourself a Discord. And I'm into Star Wars Only's Discord as well. He's got a good community there, and I'm a fan of his too. and I've done some things with him in the past, but I'm not as cool as Goldman, so he doesn't have me on his Tatooine show. So I feel left out in the cold, as it is at the North Pole. Right.
And Green Bear has confirmed my suspicions that it is a sandwich.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I look forward to your video about the announcement coming in November. And congratulations again on the 75K subs.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
your
so
continued
much.
growth. You'll be at 100 very soon. Very soon. The Gold Man. It's not my show. I know it's Star Wars only show. I know, but he never invites me to come hang out with you and the college age kids.
Tatooine, isn't it?
Yes.
Tatooine.
Meg is.
I don't
your
comment.
age.
I'm just always there.
Yeah, Meg's your age, so maybe she could get an invite. Santa's not cool enough for the Tatooine show, but Meg definitely is. So thank you again, you guys. I hope you have a great day. I've had a ton of fun today, and taking some of the jibber jabber from Meg is always welcome. Any last words, Meg, before we close?
Jibber jabber.
There you go. And my friend,
thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for being here. I love each and every one of you.
Thank you. And you guys, we'll see you at 3:30 on the Discord live stage if you're over there, and look forward to catching you all later. And if we don't talk to you again, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Spend some time with loved ones and family, friends, and we'll talk to you soon. And until then, we'll close out by Merry Christmas, everybody, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.